Alrighty, folks, coming at you guys today with a heroes tier list, this time ARAM specific. I got a request in a previous video to do an ARAM specific tier list. You can't pick your heroes in this, so it's not like I'm telling you to pick the top tier heroes or don't pick the bottom tier heroes, but you do have some rerolls, so just some stuff to think about. More than anything, a place for you guys to discuss your ARAM thoughts in the comments and relative hero strength in ARAM. I believe this tier list has everyone on it. I'm going to start by going through some top and bottom win rate heroes. Pred.gg is the website we track win rate and pick rate and ban rate with. You can sort by ARAM here, so hop in here, sort by ARAM, and you can view all of these win rate and pick rate statistics for yourself. We're going to talk about some of the top and bottom ones. Starting off here, going through the tiers, S tier, never re-roll. Heroes that just don't re-roll them. If you get them, you get a lucky roll, basically. If you got one of these heroes in ARAM, try to give it to one of your teammates, maybe that wants to play them. A tier, always great. Some of the better heroes for ARAM. B tier, personal preference. These are heroes that if you play them outside of ARAM, if you get them in ARAM, you're probably going to be happy and you can have good games with them, but maybe they're not like the top echelon. C tier, feast or famine. Some heroes that have the potential, if you're good with them, to carry games, but have a really low win rate right now, so I've seen them pop off, and I've seen people have rough games for sure. And then D tier, not built for ARAM, the bottom of the win rate selection for ARAM right now, and heroes I just don't recommend like intentionally not re-rolling in ARAM. Let's go into it. We'll start with the top win rate first, because I think that's a little bit more exciting, right? This is a lot of hero items to look through now. No surprise, I guess, to anyone who's probably been playing ARAM, but Narbash, if there was a tier above S in this tier list, Narbash would be the only one that sits in it. By far and away the highest win rate hero. If we look at Pred.gg, 62% win rate. 62%. He's got a 4-point gap on the second highest at 62%. That is absurd. Narbash is clearly not built for ARAM because this hero is broken when you're constantly around all your teammates and around all the enemy team. Second, like you probably just saw there, Greystone, you really should not be re-rolling Greystone. He's too good, too consistent. You hit your ult, it'll catch multiple people pretty much every time with the damage from it. Lacks CC, but just does so much good AoE damage, and he's the best builder in the game of the Cursed Scroll, and like Ace of Aguar and Anoxian Quiver and that kind of build. I think he's the best in the game at building it, so just goes crazy in ARAM. Next up, we've got the Faye. She's got those buffs recently, which have made her good anyway in normal matches, but you really shouldn't be re-rolling her. One of the better mages right now. It offers a lot to your team. You can hit, since people are grouped up, you can regularly hit 3 or 4 man ults with her if you have some CC on your team to follow up on it or set up for it. A great hero right now. Gadget. Setting up here, no surprise, obviously Gadget specializes in big AoE zoning, consistent poke, artillery type damage as a mage, does it very well, scales up very well, just strong because you always have targets to hit. You can build your soul binder and stack it up like crazy and just have stupid power and do big damage as Gadget, so no surprise there. One that was a little bit more surprising to me is Steel. I'm debating if he actually slides down into the A tier, but I guess he is just kind of really good. Like, he is going to be super tanky with his passive. He does have CC that can catch multiple people. Being unstoppable helps a lot in ARAM. The wall helps and gets good value in ARAM. So no surprise that he is a top 5 win rate, I guess, if you think about it. But he doesn't really seem like the caliber of game winners that these do. But he's up there. He's up there. Next, we're going to put Zinx, which Zinx I am actually going to slide down to the A tier. Good, but it's kind of you're probably building damage in ARAM as Zinx, and depending on what your comp looks like, you would prefer to have like another healer here potentially, or just a better support. She does have good AoE CC, which is probably what gets her the high win rate that she has. The revive is just okay in ARAM. Next up, someone who's going right back up into S tier, Sparrow. Probably going to be towards the top of S tier for me. Probably right beside Narb. I think those are the best two in my opinion. Just ridiculous with that augment, man. When you're stacking up that augment for free flat pin and then you're building Deathstalker, this gets ridiculous. You build Deathstalker and 5 crit items on her, and if your ARAM game goes over 15 minutes, you just insta-kill everybody. It's absolutely crazy. So The best carry by far in ARAM because of that augment, really just because of that stacking flat pin augment. Is he not on this list? Oh, there he is. He was just hiding. Morn, an elite support, of course, a top 3 support in normal games. Having an AoE heal and an AoE mez is super valuable for him. The pull is super valuable. Kind of tempted to slide him into S tier because he does a lot of what Narb does, except comes with a different CC set. So yeah, he's probably got to set up an S tier with me. I would take him over Zinx pretty much any time on my team. So has a little bit lower win rate than her, but I think all these top ones are really close outside of Narb, of course, because that man's on another level. Next up, we've got Mr. Drongo. And I think Drongo's A tier. There's really no reason to be putting another carry in S tier. Sparrow's by far and away the best one. Drongo, though, a close second, I would say, because you have the silence, because you have good, consistent AoE damage. The ult lets you have some mobility. Just a good kit for ARAM. The silence is going to be valuable when you always have targets trying to cast abilities that you would like to stop them from casting abilities. So he's got to be up here, right? And then finally, as far as win rates, top win rate discussion, Iggy probably should be borderline S tier. I think you'll get better gadget value and potentially better Fae value a lot of the time, but Iggy is just super strong, man. A top win rate hero currently in normal matches as well. The turrets are super valuable. I think he'll be above Drongo here at the top of A tier for me. Obviously just great AoE and consistent damage, right? So that's it as far as top win rates. Let's look at some of the bottom win rate heroes. Again, I don't think too many of these will surprise you guys, but some of them are a little surprising, I guess. Bottom of win tier of win rate, and going in the bottom tier is Wukong. Unfortunately, just not a hero that you're going to get huge value out of in ARAM, you know. Has great mobility, but everyone's already grouped up and they have vision on you, so it's like the mobility doesn't help you as much, except for just maybe surprising with an engage or disengage. The CC's decent, but you can get a lot of bruisers with better CC than him, so, and you can't really build Assassin Wukong in an ARAM game and get away with it unless your comp has like crazy like multi-tanks on it otherwise. So in a rough spot right now. Next up though, someone who's not in a rough spot, Wraith. I'm actually going to put Feast or Famine. It's a very fun hero to play in ARAM. After the buffs to like Soulbinder and stuff, you should be getting pretty good value out of him every game. Just going to be a little bit of a slow start, and statistically has a terrible win rate right now in ARAM. Next up, Feng Mao, which again, I guess you can make an argument for Feast or Famine, but it's just really not a hero that's great in ARAM. Has good mobility, has the execute. You could re-trigger the execute multiple times, but he's just not in a favorable spot compared to his competition. A bottom 3 win rate hero in ARAM. Potential Feast or Famine argument, but not coming from me. Boris, again, not built for ARAM. I mean, it's hard to carry games as Boris in ARAM like you sometimes can in normal matches. You can build him tank, though, and you'll get good value as the team tank. Boris, if you need to, just a bottom 4 win rate currently. And then rounding out the bottom 5 win rates actually right now is Mako, who I'm also going to slide up into Feast or Famine because I think that low of a win rate is just because a lot of people are not re-rolling him because they want to try him. And he has incredible value potential in ARAM when you've got a lot of targets to heal, when you've got a lot of targets to jump on to get your shield. You've got plenty of targets to stun. The stun hitbox is actually big, and people are getting used to hitting it now, so it's a good kit to fight. Most supports are going to be higher up anyway. Mako brings a lot of that support kit to the table, so we give him a pass up here into C tier. Crunch, though, is borderline Feast or Famine, man. We've seen some crunches do really well. A lot of it's going to be doing the same thing that you have to do as Boris, though. Picking one target, double dashing at him, diving him, CC chaining him, and just building relatively tanky and hoping that if you CC out their Sparrow or whatever it may be, then your team can win the fight while you and Sparrow, like while you're CC chaining Sparrow. So just not pretty decent in ARAM, I would say, but having a low win rate right now, I got to slide him down here. Really, Miss Goonie. Miss Goonie wants to get involved in the tier list. Next up, surprisingly in win rate, well, I guess not too surprisingly, it is ARAM, is Kallari. Pretty Feast or Famine level of hero, Kallari. You'll see a lot of these high damage heroes that probably end up in the C tier. You can have a crazy game if you're good with Kalari and kind of carry your ARAM match with her, but a lot of times the other team's not going to let that happen unless you're just good with her. I mean, you can definitely get higher value with her because she has that crazy damage right now, but a bottom 10 win rate hero by a good margin here. We are getting into the area where these low win rates are all kind of around the same, versus like the gap from Narbash to Greystone is huge. The gap between some of these lower end ones outside of Wukong is not so big. It's a pretty small gap. Miss Goonie, we're really going to do this right now? Can you go behave? Okay. She's not gonna, she's just gonna sit right here anyway. After Kalari, similar story with Yuri. These high damage, high mobility heroes that are really good right now in the normal matches in jungle, it's just feast or famine. You could see one of them go off and go crazy in your ARAM game, or they could have a rough match if they get shut down and get behind. So, you know, it is what it is. They have a top or a bottom 10 win rate right now, as does surprisingly Zarus. I think you usually get decent value with them. It's not so much feast or famine as it is just good value with the cage. You have a stun, you have good mobility. You can just brawl, and you have a decent passive to get value out of that constant brawling that you're going to do. So feast or famine, similar to these other high damage heroes. You could also build them tank, I guess. And then finally, looking at the bottom win rate heroes is Muriel, which again I'm going to put in feast or famine because if you're good with Muriel, you can get crazy value. You constantly have someone to heal or to shield in her case, to give them the extra move speed. You constantly have enemy targets to hit and slow. But I don't know if it's probably a low win rate because people are getting Muriel and they're not used to playing Muriel, because you do have to play her weird being a support with no stun. But you're guaranteed good value if you're just throwing shields on everyone as her. So that's it as far as top win rate and bottom win rate heroes that I wanted to discuss. Let's go through the list and slide everybody where I just feel like they should go. Acheron, A tier, great AoE damage consistently, has the ult for CC, has a root, just a solid kit. Most mages or heroes, like he's not a mage, but capable of dealing big magical damage in an area are going to be best in ARAM. Aurora has that potential to force multiple cleanses or force multiple people to get froze via her ult, which is quite strong in ARAM, especially if you take the augment to make it a little bit bigger. You'll catch people super consistently with it. So I think she's got to kind of go in A tier, a solid CC tank. Bale, it's probably going to be feast or famine on you on Bale. I've seen some bad Bales, I've seen some good Bales in ARAM. Maybe personal preference. Now, I think feast or famine, just because I don't really think he's on the same. It's the same setup as some of these other heroes. Doesn't have the crazy survivability of Greystone. Does have a good passive and good life stealing, but it's probably going to be feast or famine. I don't think I've seen anybody do just okay with Bale and ARAM, but I could be wrong. Obviously, you could do well with them for sure. Eden, I mean, realistically, right now, she should just be in the never reroll tier. Doesn't have the win rate to back it, but just a stupid hero. Just the strongest hero in the game outside of ARAM, of course, is going to at least be decent in ARAM. Since she doesn't have the win rate to back it, we'll put her at the bottom, but I would never reroll an Eden for sure. Argus, probably a personal preference type hero. I think you can get good value with Argus, but it's not a lot of big AoE value. You know, the majority of what you're doing with Argus is machine gunning someone down, which could win you some 1v1s in ARAM, but you're not going to have that many 1v1s. So if you're good with him and good at hitting his stuns, you could, and he's your hero that you play outside of ARAM, you can definitely have great games with him. Belica, I'm going to put towards the end of the bottom of always great, because you put that drone down. Sometimes you'll put that drone down in ARAM and you'll hear it shoot like 20 times. So just constantly shooting because the whole other team is underneath it casting abilities. And Belica gets huge value from that. The ult can also silence people, which you'll usually have a good target to silence with. So AoE knock-up as well is quite nice. Countess, gotta go in A tier for me. Good damage from okay distance, good mobility. Most importantly, though, tank Countess in ARAM is just ridiculous. If you're playing tank Countess in ARAM, you're going to be hard to kill. And when anybody on their team dies, a blood pool can show up that just full heals you. And it's really just annoying and hard to push through. if they're building full tank. Probably get away with damage Countess as well, but tank Countess is crazy. Decker doesn't have the win rate that some of these other heroes have, but I mean, realistically, kind of always great. Like, the cage is so valuable. The beam does good damage. The ult, if you can land it, is good. It has decent augment option with the double jump boots, boosting multiple people on your team's movement speed for a short duration. So I think probably towards the bottom of A tier for me. Gideon, that's a personal preference type mage. You're doing mostly DPS single target damage with some AoE attached to it, but you're mostly targeting one person with his abilities, and the ult is going to leave you super vulnerable when they have 5 people to target you. Even with True Silver, you're probably not going to get a full Gideon ult off about ever, so if you like him, he's in a good spot. Grim probably should be up here in the A tier with Drongo as far as carries go, because you have the chance to lock and execute multiple people in a row pretty easily. I've got clips of me getting quads and triples, quads, pentas, whatever, with Grim just by hitting his ult. You know, 2 people are low, I'm going to ult 2 people, and then see if the third person is low, I'm going to ult them too. So that's really fun. The magic damage is usually pretty nice too, because harder to build magic armor than physical armor. Grux probably should be Feast or Famine, worse than Bale, right? But does have a pull. I will say does have a pull that can catch multiple people, which is pretty valuable in ARAM because you can often get within distance to hit that pull. So Feast or Famine, if you're good at hitting the pull, you're going to do a lot for your team. If you're not, it might be a little rough. Howie probably should be an always great tier. The damage is crazy, but I think I actually slide him just a little bit above Gideon because he just doesn't quite have that consistent AoE like blast area denial like you have with someone like Iggy or Gadget, you know, or Faye. But does have a knockback. I mean, does have an ult. Just when you hit that ult in ARAM, you're going to be getting target. Anyone that has anything to get you out of that ult is going to try to fire it at you, and you don't want to build True Silver on Howie, right? So if you like playing him outside of ARAM, definitely have fun with him. Twin is pretty valuable in ARAM because you always have someone you can ult. You have good ability spam, so you're constantly going to be hitting people, which is nice. I would say not too many crazy advantages to him outside of just ulting someone whenever it's off cooldown, but a decent carry, one of the better carries probably. Chimera has a actually pretty respectable win rate and has in the past in ARAM. Of course, he's been nerfed hard at this point, but I think serving as a tank that just sticks in there and stays and keeps healing and just stays in the middle of the fight, eventually CCing someone with his ult, you can get good value out of him. I think less than these mages on average, but one of the better dive tanks, I guess, in ARAM, and has had a high win rate for a while. Kira, I think we actually slide Kira up and slide Twin down because I would much rather have Kira. Her abilities, although her Mercy doesn't pierce waves like Twin Blasted Vaporize, other than that, like, she just has a better kit for ARAM. You don't have slow grenades, but you do have an ult that hits multiple targets, unlike Twins. And you can dusk people and get easy finishes pretty consistently. So I think she probably just, with the dash, you know, both of them being similar in that they have the dash, I think she's just a better Twin in most cases. But Twin is very good. If you prefer him over her, I understand it, but I'd much rather have Kira if I was playing it. Quang, I think we need to slide into personal preference because you do have a long-range tether that can cook people if you're able to hit it, but not too many people prefer him. But if you're good with him outside of ARAM, you should have, and you can hit your sword throws, you're going to have a really impactful ARAM game. On Quang, Skylar's decent. Problem with Skylar is when you fly, just like with Howie, everyone that's got something to cancel you out of it's going to be targeting you with it. You're an easy target to see. The ult rarely gets as good a value as Grimm's, but it's okay. She's just a great tank killer, and a lot of people aren't preferring tanks in ARAM. It's not like a tank meta. If they do have a steal or something that's building tank or a ramp or something, she's going to be the best person to melt them. But just kind of on par with some of the other carries here. Morigesh is really bad in ARAM and outside of ARAM too, to be honest with you, but she doesn't have the win rate to be probably in D tier, I'll put her at the bottom of C tier because I've tried attack speed Morgash when I get her in ARAM. I've tried hive ability damage Morgash and ARAM. Neither of them feel really great. So if you like her, maybe you can have a good game with her, but I have not seen it too often for sure. Murdoch, pretty fun with the mines. I think the ability to just spam down a bunch of mines in lane is pretty nice. We're going to slide him up right below Twin. Just because he has a well-rounded carry kit. Any carry is going to be at least decent in ARAM where you constantly have targets to auto. FaZe, it's going to be a feast or famine type situation for FaZe. Unfortunately, if you're a really good FaZe, you can get good value. But FaZe excels in 2v2s where you're linked to one person and you're against two people. In the team fight, you're constantly going to have to be switching who you have linked to and using your abilities in such a way that makes that work. Now, if you are really good with the FaZe, you could have a feast rather than a famine, but I don't think people are, or at least the people that I've seen randomly getting her in ARAM. Ramp, pretty fun in ARAM, pretty solid too. I've played some ARAM games with him recently on stream. And, I mean, if your team's willing to play around a tank, he can give you great value. I think he can give you as good a value as Chimera, as the kind of dive tank. I would still go big augment instead of tiny titan, but if you want to have fun, if your personal preference is tiny titan, then you can go it on him and have fun too. Rev, excluding the potential to stack 1,000 power with the roly-poly glitch, assuming that's not being factored in here, just regular Revenant I would not put above most of these other carries. His damage potential is great against tanks and squishy targets alike because of his autos coming out so slow. But he is very unforgiving also because of that. So a decent kit. I don't think I would take him over any of these other carries even, but all carries are at least decent. Richter, tempted to put him in the always great tier. I think you just always get good value out of a Richter. Having a Richter in your ARAM games always kind of feels nice. Having that pull potential, because if they pull someone, they're going to get hit by like 4 people. Quick, right? Like your team's just going to light up whatever poor target gets pulled by Richter. So, and the ult's decent too for defensive purposes if you need it. So, like a good kit for ARAM. Seraph, on the other hand, though, especially since the nerfs is really kind of feast or famine. Like, if they have a Grux that gets 2 levels ahead and an item ahead, he's going to cook everyone. If they have a Seraph that's 2 levels ahead and an item ahead, she's going to cook everyone. Because of her invulnerability, I think she's right there in line with Grux. You have a potential to have a feast, but if you're building full damage, it's going to be kind of hard to stay alive in the middle of 5 targets, at least at the beginning of the game. So we'll see. I think that's about where she should be alongside Grux. Sev, realistically, can make a good argument for always great because he gets so tanky late game. I think we're going to put him a little bit above the other health dive tanks because he's going to have the potential at the end of the game to have the most health getting his passive stacks for free. His passive will get huge value being around 5 enemy targets at all times. Buffing magical damage taken with how good mages are in ARAM as part of his passive is very strong. Good CC too. You can slither behind somebody and knock them into 4 people and then they're cooked, right? So Sev in a solid spot. Shinbi, kind of personal preference on Shinbi. She's very good outside of ARAM right now. Lacks CC, of course, similar to Greystone, but does great AoE fight damage when you're hitting a bunch of people with her Whirlwind and hit your ult. You can hit, a 20 plus, wolf spawn ult. That's going to get big value on her, going to mitigate damage well if you build tank. Just not quite as good as the Countess pick, which would be, just a better healer and a better true damage dealer, than Shinbi. Terra having a poor win rate right now. I'm going to say feast or famine on Terra alongside the likes of Bale. If you're good with Terra outside, you can have a good match with her. She can get really tanky, not quite as tanky as someone like Steel, but quite tanky. And CC immunity is nice when you got 5 people hitting you with CC, but it's going to go one way or the other. I think most games probably can make a good argument for personal preference tier, but I think she's kind of more similar to Bale in a lot of ways, probably a little bit behind Bale. Yin, decent. Personal preference probably for me. Yes, your ult should consistently get great value, but it depends on the comp. If they don't have a lot of projectiles, then your ult's not going to get good value, and you're not going to get good deflect value either. So you can get rolling. It's just to be a little bit of a slow start, and Yin can still cook. She's in a good spot outside of ARAM as well. And then Rena probably should go up here in A tier, probably closer to these other mages like Bellica and Count. Just a really good high value big AoE damage type mage. You have a long range mez as well, which is quite strong in ARAM to isolate targets. So just a good hero, good scaling as well, similar to Gadget. You can scale up into the late game and have a ton of power or a ton of instances of your damage being dealt is how her passive works, but same concept, just stupid damage late game. So that's what I've got for you as far as the tier list. I'll try to zoom out here and fit it on the screen the best I can. What do you think about it? Where would you move any of these heroes around to? You know, I don't want a meta to do any balancing around ARAM or anything like that, of course, but Narb on a stupid high win rate, man. Just don't reroll your Narbs. That's one takeaway is don't reroll your Narbs, because that man is broken truly broken in ARAM. So let me know your thoughts. Thanks for stopping by. Come hang out with us in the live streams. We're having a lot of fun running Pred just about every day. We'll catch you guys in the next one, and keep enjoying Pred, folks. Just keep enjoying Pred.